Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Maker and today I'm teaching you how to set up and connect with your Cricut Joy. This is the Cricut Kickoff Lesson 1 and together we're going to set up our Cricut Joys together step by step. So please pull up a chair here in my craft studio and let's get started. Let's bring this little thing, so cute, a little closer. All right. The Cricut Joy is a smart cutting machine that is very compact and portable. And while it is smaller, it is also really smart. The cute little Cricut Joy can do things that some of the older cutting machines cannot, such as make continuous cuts up to 4 feet long, cut repeated shapes up to 20 feet long, and cut special material without mats. It is very cool and it makes an excellent starter cutting machine or a second cutting machine for those who need something more portable. So here I have a brand new and still sealed in the box Cricut Joy cutting machine. I'm going to open the box, see what's inside, connect it to a variety of devices including an iPad, an Android, a Windows laptop, and my Mac desktop computer. So basically everything, so you can see exactly what it looks like, and then we'll do the test cut. My goal is to get you set up and able to cut by the end of this video. It is really easy and you can totally do this. Now I do have something special for you, a free printable handbook that goes along with these free lessons. You can download it right now at CRICUTKickoff.com. Just register for the class, again it's free, and you'll get the handbook. We'll be referring to it as we go along during today's lesson, but just know it is filled with tons of useful cheat sheets, helpful information, things that are related to what we're doing, all that good stuff. It's definitely something you want to get. And one more thing, I want you to know that you are not alone. I am here to help, as is my amazing team and fantastic community of more than, or actually nearly 1 million Cricut crafters. We are an amazing community. So hang out here with me in my studio, take notes in your handbook as we go along, and if you get stuck, reach out and ask. I love to help, as does every member of my community. We are always here to help you succeed, and I mean that genuinely. Nothing brings me more joy than seeing you make things that make you happy, and knowing that I enabled that. So, are you ready to unbox this baby? Let's get down to it and get it done. All right, so I'm going to make a little space here. Actually, we don't really need all that much to open this box, right? So, but I am going to turn on my overhead camera. And we can even zoom in a little bit because it really isn't all that big. I want to make sure all of our cameras are working right. We've had some issues with our camera stopping. So, a thank you and again for your patience. All right. So sealed, this is brand new. And again, well, not again, I guess I've said this many times, but this video is not sponsored by Cricut. I don't work for Cricut. I am a Cricut fangirl. I buy all of my own Cricuts so that I can experience it just like you can. I believe that if I'm given money for what I do or given free equipment or anything like that, I don't have the same understanding of the value of it, and I might also get a different experience, right? Plus, you couldn't pay me to do this. I want to do this. This is on my own. This is how I work. All right. So here is our Cricut Joy. This is so easy. We just pull this out, set that right there, and inside here, there's more things. We have a little envelope in the back that says "Open Me," and under here, we've got our power cable. There's one half of it. Here's the other half of it. And a pen. And let's make sure there's nothing else in here. Always check under all of your packing material. You just never know. It's packed really well, I must admit. I love Cricut's packaging. They do a great job. All right, we've got everything. Now save your box, because if you need to ship it anywhere or you want to move or anything, any reason, I save all my boxes, so save yours too. So we'll just set it over here. This is really such an easy thing. The Cricut Joy is the easiest, and I love it. All right, so it's in shrink wrap. But this envelope says to open me, so let's just start here. So I'm going to gently cut this just so I get the sticker. There we go. All right. So in our envelope, we have a Let's Get Started, which tells us what to do. So we're going to do this together, of course. We also have a piece of cardstock for testing, a piece of smart vinyl for testing as well. Smart vinyl can be cut without a mat, as you will see. And a smaller Joy mat. They do have bigger ones. This is the 6-inch long ones. They have 12-inch ones as well. This is a standard grip one. We will talk all about the Joy's tools and materials and supplies in lesson 2. And then, of course, your warranty FCC statement. Cricuts have a year warranty, and I highly recommend that you if you have a Joy, get it out of the box. Don't let it stay in the box, so that your warranty is that you're actually using it within your warranty period. That's a big deal. All right. So I know that the Let's Get Started envelope, it says to go to cricut.com/setup. All right. So that's what we're going to do, but I'm going to get the shrink wrap off of this first, because I know that we have to do that part. So I'm using my craft knife, but I'm cutting in this little channel right here. I don't want to cut my Cricut Joy or anything like that. So, be cautious if you're using a knife like I am to open it up. Isn't it so cute? All right, so here it is. So we'll just set it right here. And we've got all our materials. We will plug it in when it tells us to. So we'll just set these things here. And I think we're ready to head on over to cricut.com/setup, just as the directions show us to do. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you. One moment. Okay. Can you see it? You can. All right, and I will put my face back up there, because I think that it's helpful to see a face as someone is talking whenever it makes sense. And I think I can. This probably will take a little bit of figuring out here, because I'm not seeing it right now. Let's try this one. Okay, and then I have to fix the camera because that's not the right camera. Okay, that's close. Let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. All right. And I'm going to move it down too, so it's not up quite so far. And I will close it if we need it, if it gets in our way. Okay. So here we are in our browser. We want to go to cricut.com/setup. So cricut.com/setup. And that brings us to this page that says, glad you're here. Thanks, Cricut. Awesome. Okay, so we have 2 choices, cutting machine or heat press. We want cutting machine. Of course, there's our cute little Joy. Almost there. Download design space to continue setup. I want you to notice that if you just click on download now, it's grayed out. That's because you need to click on I agree to Cricut's terms of use and privacy policy. And then the link turns green. So of course, you should read your terms of use, and you should read their privacy policy. That's all right here. You can click on these to go right to them and open them up and read them. But we will skip that, but please read them on your own time. All right, so I'm going to download now. It's downloading right to my Mac. I'm on a Mac right now, that's how I'm broadcasting this, is on a Mac. And this little icon up here at the top, if you're on Google Chrome, this is Google Chrome that I'm using, which I highly recommend, by the way, as a browser. Google Chrome, it's awesome, free, works great. But this little icon here will lead you to your downloads. So if you ever have downloaded something and you can't find it, you want to check up here. So it's right, I'll show you what it looks like. So you just click on it. So there you go. So I'm going to click on this, and it's going to take me right to the window. And let me switch my window over so you can see everything now. One moment. I have to fix that. There we go. All right. So can you see this right here? Okay. So this opened up for me, and this is what it looks like on the Mac. Don't worry. You're probably not on a Mac. Most people are either on Windows or something else. I'm going to show you what it looks like on Windows too. But on the Mac, you get this little window and it looks like this. And then you click and hold and drag it over onto your folder and let go. You don't the window doesn't even necessarily pop up. It's kind of like click, hold, drag, and let go like that. I'm just pausing too much. All right, so once it is in there, you go ahead and you want to open up your applications window. And here's all my applications. And we're looking for Cricut Design Space. I think I've got things in here by alphabetically. But you might have a list, you might have something else, but look for Cricut Design Space. And we're going to double click that and open it up. If you get this message on a Mac that says it's from the internet, do you want to open it? Say yes. If your security settings say it can't open it, you'll want to go to your settings, which are right down here. Can you see that? This icon with the gear. You'll want to go into your settings and go into security and give it permission to open it. But I have given it permission to open it, so it is now installing for me. And it doesn't take very long, but it will depend upon your internet connection, of course. All right, so let's make Cricut Design Space a little bit bigger. There we go. And I'll have to fix my camera again, I see. One moment, sorry. First video of the day. All right, let's see here. There we go. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space. Now, it doesn't like really tell you what to do at this point. I don't know why. It used to take you right into the setup, but it isn't. So if this happens, hopefully it does take you right into machine setup. But if it doesn't, or if you've downloaded Cricut Design Space before this, or you have another Cricut, you might be puzzled right now about what to do. I mean, this is Cricut Design Space. This is the free software, but what comes next? So here's what you do. Up here in the upper right corner, oh, you know something? I know why it's doing this, because I'm signed in. Let's sign out and do this properly. If I'm signed in, it just assumes I have a, it just assumes that I already know what to do. So let's go ahead and close all of this then. I forgot about that step. I mean, I'm normally signed into Cricut, right? Hang on, I gotta find my cursor again. There we go. And I need to make my cursor a little bit bigger too, so that you can see it. I always make my cursor larger whenever I can. All right, there we go. All right, so we've downloaded Cricut Design Space. We've installed it. You can still see everything, right? So let's go ahead and see this. If not, I'm going to back up another step. Let's open this up. There's Cricut Design Space, and it's opening. All right, so once you get to this step, you will see two buttons at the bottom of your screen, a product setup button and a sign in button. If you are already familiar with Cricut, you can just sign in. You actually don't even have to do any of this setup. You're just good to go, but you can, of course. If you are brand new to your Cricut Joy or to Cricut, you'll want to do product setup, and anyone can do this. I'm going to go ahead and click product setup right here. And this brings us to the login page. So you can create a Cricut ID. It is completely free to do. If you already have a Cricut Design Space account, you can click on sign in, and you can go ahead and put in your name, and password, right? Your email and your password. But today I'm going to assume that most of you don't have a Cricut ID yet, and we're going to put that in. So Jennifer, Megan, this is your email address, right? So you want to be careful to spell it properly. If you don't spell it right, it can cause issues with getting customer service, with ordering things from the store, just logging in because you didn't realize you made a mistake, right? So always double check your email address. And I highly recommend Gmail if you need a free email address. And then you'll also want to put in your password. Passwords need to be have both upper and lowercase letters, and they need to have at least one number in it and at least one special character. So as it says right here on the screen. There we go. And of course your name. So Jennifer Maker, and you can put in your country. You can search for it. I'm in the United States, so I just search for it and select it. You can optionally put in your phone number. If you do, you have the option to get texts from Cricut about special deals and stuff like that. So, but you can skip it, and I'm going to skip it today. But very importantly, I want you to notice that the Create Cricut ID down here is grayed out, and it will stay grayed out until you click on I agree to Cricut's terms of use and privacy policy. Again. All right, so we've done that. So let's go ahead and create a Cricut ID. And again, this is free. So if you are Cricut Joy curious right now, you can create an account right now and you can go in there and play. And it took me back to the screen. I don't know why. Let's try signing in. I have had this happen before. I just clicked sign in. I also might have been impatient, let's be honest. All right, so we are in Cricut Design Space right now. We are going to close Cricut Access. All right, so this is what I was talking about. If you open up Cricut Design Space and it doesn't give you the welcome, doesn't roll out the welcome mat for you and say, hey, here's what you do next. This is what you do. You want to go up to your name in the upper right corner, click on it, and then underneath there, you'll see an option that says settings. Click on that. And then here there's tabs across the top. Click on machines. And then it says new product setup. Click on start. All right, so we need to go ahead and let Cricut know that we have a smart cutting machine again. And now we need to select our cutting machine. Here's all the current Cricuts that are available to us, but today we're working with the Cricut Joy. Okay, so we need to follow the directions that are right on the screen. So the first step is to prepare the workspace. So we want to make sure that we've cleared at least 10 inches or 25 centimeters of space behind the Cricut Joy. Let me show you what that means. So I'm going to switch to another camera. Let's try this one. So here's our Cricut Joy, right? So what this means by having space behind it, you need to have space behind here. A lot of people will just put their Cricuts on a bookshelf or something and not realize that it has to have space behind because there is a slot in the back right here, and your mat or your material, either one, both, will move and pass through this slot. If you have a wall or something back here and it hits it, it will stop working, or it'll err, or it'll get jammed or something. So make sure you have plenty of space behind your Cricut, at least 10 inches with the Cricut Joy. Okay, and now we can go ahead and press the arrow button. Find an outlet. Connect the power cord to the machine and then plug it into a wall outlet. All right, so we're going to do that too. So here's our power cable, the little twisty tie, and it's in two parts. It has to be put together. Quite common to do. This cable, this is about 6 feet long once it's all put together, maybe a little longer actually. It could be more like 8 feet. It feels like it's been a while. I thought it was 6 feet, but it looks a little longer to me. All right, so there we go. I want also to note that, especially if you have multiple Cricuts, it says Cricut Joy on it. Let's put it on the overhead here. And let's fix our picture here because that looks silly. All right, there we go. So as you can see here, it says Cricut Joy right on the power. I always call it the brick. I'm sure there's a better word for this. This is significant because if you have multiple Cricuts, this is the one for the Joy. Also works for the Joy Extra, I've discovered. All right, so we've got that one. Let's plug it all in. Right here, these go together. This part here goes in the back of your Cricut Joy. So on the back, you'll notice that there actually is very little on the whole thing. Notice there's no buttons or anything, right? It is, I actually think that's really cool. So even inside, all we've got here is just a little packing material, which we can take out. The blade is already in your Cricut right here. So, but on the back, there's the only port is this one right here, the power port. So plug that in. There we go. And then we want to plug, it says to plug it into a wall outlet, but a properly rated extension cord, and this is a heavy duty one, is fine. This is a bigger extension cord than we even need. Just make sure that, if you're plugging it into, so whatever you're plugging into is going to be appropriate for this. And it does matter. If you don't have enough power, you can have an issue with your Cricut, right? So it does matter. All right, so we've got that plugged in. And when it plugs in, it turns on. Can you hear that? The power button on the top is blinking. I'm going to switch to a different camera. This one seems a little blurry to me. Oh, that one's frozen. Okay, we're not using that one. That camera over there is frozen. We'll stick with this one. All right, so here is our Cricut Joy plugged in. Now, it's important that you keep your power cable away from the back too. So see on the back, like if you have your cable draped across it like this, and you put your mat in here, it could actually hit this and stop. So it's really easy. It just swivels around here like this so that your cord stays out of the way, out of the back here. All right. So there's our Cricut. Power is on. All right, cool. Okay, thank you, Greg. Let's see if that worked. It did work. I'm going to switch to this camera because I think it's a little bit clearer. And I'm going to, one moment, I have to adjust all of my cameras like messed up right before I went live today. So they're all like in the wrong order and the zoom isn't in and all that. So thank you for bearing with me on this. Okay, so let's see if we can get this one a little bit better. That looks pretty good. I think that looks a little clearer, and then I'm going to brighten it up a little bit more. How's that look? Okay, all of our power cable. Let's bring this back here completely out of the way. All right, so there is our cute little Cricut Joy. Now, if we go back to Cricut Design Space, we plugged it in, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and press next. All right, now it says to connect using Bluetooth. The Cricut Joy only uses Bluetooth. It doesn't use USB, so that's important to know. And of course, that means that you need internet, right? We're using internet right now to access Cricut Design Space. I'm using it through my Mac, but again, I'm going to show you how to do that through other devices, phones, tablets, that sort of thing. All right, and you really just need like 2 to 3 megabits per second for your connection. I have 100 megabits here at the studio, so most people will have no problem with this, okay? All right, so connect using Bluetooth. So using your computer's Bluetooth settings to pair Cricut Joy, use your computer's Bluetooth settings to pair Cricut Joy. Once your machine appears below, click continue, okay? So you need a device to connect your Cricut to because the Cricut does not operate independently. So that can be a Windows computer running Windows 10 or later, a Mac OS computer running OS 11 or later, an iPhone or an iPad running iOS 15 or later, or an Android phone or tablet running version 10 or later, such as a Samsung tablet. You can always check for the latest system requirements at jennifermaker.com/Cricut requirements. So jennifermaker.com/Cricut-requirements. There's a dash in there. All right, so I'm using my Mac right now, but again, I'll show you all of them when we're done with that. All right, so this part, I think the connecting to Bluetooth this is where most people stumble. So I'm gonna show you how to do this everywhere. All right, so back in Cricut Design Space, actually, we're going to go to the whole computer. There we go. All right, down here, you'll notice it says no device found. Like it doesn't see that your Cricut is available right now at all. Even though we've turned it on, it doesn't seem to like know anything about it. So on the Mac, you need to go to your settings and go to your Bluetooth settings. So I'm going to click on system settings. It's right down here. It's this gray icon. If you need to find it another way, you can go to the magnifying glass here and you can type in settings. There's many ways to find it. There's 2 ways. All right. So inside your settings, you'll want to click on Bluetooth, which you can see over here on the side. And I want to, yeah, no, I can't make it any bigger. This is this. I was thinking about making my screen so you could see it better, but this is actually, I might be able to zoom in a little bit. One moment. Let's go back to that. I'll zoom in a little bit while we're doing this. There we go. So we can see it a little better. Okay, so here we are in Bluetooth on the Mac. So first, make sure Bluetooth is turned on. Every Mac that I know of will have Bluetooth. If for some reason yours doesn't, you can buy a very inexpensive Bluetooth adapter, right? So if for some reason, I actually don't know. I think all modern devices have Bluetooth, but you can get a little adapter if you need to. They're very inexpensive. All right, so Bluetooth is on. You can see that little toggle there. And then if you scroll down, you'll see nearby devices. So you can see one of my monitors, but we also see the Joy right here, right? If for any reason you've got your Joy turned on, but it's not showing up in your list, turn Bluetooth off and turn it back on again. And then it forces it to look again. Or, that doesn't work, restart your computer. Restarting can solve so many problems. But I see mine and it's right here. So I'm going to click connect. And you give it a minute to connect. And there it is, we're connected. So now let's go back to Cricut Design Space. And you'll notice that now it says, it sees it in this little box right here. It says Joy C708 Bluetooth. That 4-digit C708 will be unique. It's like your identifier for your machine. It doesn't matter for anything, but if you have multiples, that's one way that you can tell them apart. Let's say you have 2 Joys. You can tell them apart with that little number. All right, so we are connected and you won't be able to proceed until you've connected. This button will stay gray until it's ready, but it's green, so we're good to go. So I'm going to click on continue. And then we're on the Activate Cricut Joy page. So we're going to add the Cricut Joy to our Cricut ID that we just created. Check to make sure that your email address is correct here. It's on the screen. If you made a mistake, you can click on Not Your Email and fix it. So please double check your email address. And then we again agree to Cricut's terms of use and privacy policy. They really want to make sure that we've seen this. And then we click Activate. At that point, it'll check to see if any firmware updates are needed and download them for you automatically. It's super easy. And when it's done, it'll tell you that the setup is complete. Your Cricut Joy is now set up and registered to your Cricut account. And then we click Next. And this brings us to our Cricut Access page. Cricut Access is Cricut's subscription product with over 600,000 images and over 700 fonts. It is very popular, and I do recommend it, but I don't recommend that you get a free trial. Everybody who gets a new machine gets a free trial, although if it has to be on a new email address, right? So if you, for some reason you're not, keep that in mind. Like if you already had a Cricut, you're getting a second one, you don't get another 30 days free, right? So just keep that. That's important to know. But if this is a new Cricut ID, I do recommend you activate your trial when you are ready to start using your machine. I don't start talking about Cricut Design Space until lesson 3, right? We take this nice and slow, one step at a time, so it's really easy. So for now, I'm going to suggest that you click on Maybe Later, because you can always get your free trial, okay? So we'll come back we'll talk about Cricut Access in lesson 3. So for now, I'm going to click Maybe Later. All right, now we're up to the let's test your machine page. So we get to do our first cut. It's nice and easy, and it's going to make sure that we feel confident with using our machine. But at this point, I'm going to pause because I want to show you how to connect to each one of the devices that's here on my desk intern. So we just did our Mac, right? Because that's what I'm recording this lesson on, and we're doing it all live. And so next I'm going to do the Windows computer, an iPad, and which is the same as iPhone. So iOS, it looks like the same. And then we're going to do an Android tablet, which will be the same as an Android phone. So Windows, then iOS, and then Android. The videos, I pre-recorded these at home. So they're just a few minutes long. Excuse me. So if these don't apply to you, feel free, and you're watching the replay, feel free to fast forward through to the end. All right, so let's start with Windows. Setting up a Cricut Joy on Windows. Go to a browser and go to cricut.com/setup, just like we did on the Mac. And that will bring you to the product option page. So click cutting machine. And then on this page, be sure to click I agree to Cricut's terms of use and then click download now. Now, if you're on Google Chrome, you can click this little arrow here and choose open. And if you do that, it will automatically open as soon as it finishes downloading and start installing for you. It's super easy. If you don't have that option, you can look in your downloads folder. Once it opens, you'll see this, two buttons at the bottom. You want the product setup button, so click on that. If you are new, you'll want to create a Cricut ID. If you're not new, click sign in and then put in your email address and password and then click on sign in. Otherwise, create a new and free Cricut ID. So put in your email address, double check that it's all correct. Put in your password, at least 8 characters, upper and lowercase, numbers, and special characters. And of course, you want your name. Double check that you spell that right as well. And tell them that you agree to the terms of service and then click the green button. And that will bring you to the product type page. So click on Smart Cutting Machine and then choose your Cricut. And then we see the same things we saw before: preparing the workspace, powering on the Cricut, prepare your work screen. This looks just like before. So you want to make sure there's 10 inches and then click that arrow button, plug it in, power it on, and click that arrow button again. And then you want to connect to your computer. Now, if you don't see your Cricut Joy down here, you'll want to connect to it in Bluetooth. So go to your computer, search for Bluetooth. This is the easiest way to find it, in my opinion. And it'll bring you to your Bluetooth and devices. And here you can look for it, connect to it. You can click on Add Device right there, all that good stuff. You might see it in your list here to pair it. If you do need to put in a code, you can put in 4 zeros and that will work for you. But just look for it here. Click Add Device if you need to. And then when everything is good, go back and then you can click the green Continue button. And then you can activate your Joy. Double check your email address that is correct. Click here to fix it if it's not. If everything looks good, you want to click I agree to Cricut terms of use and privacy policy and click Activate. And then it will update your firmware. And once setup is complete, you click on Next. As I mentioned, the Cricut Access offer it's better to do this trial when you are on lesson 3 or later so that you actually get your full 30 days out of it. So if you're just setting up your machine right now, I recommend you choose skip, right? So that you can always activate your trial later on. And that brings you to your test cut, just like we saw on the Mac. Setting up a Cricut Joy on iPad and iPhone. To begin, you'll want to go to your Safari browser and type in cricut.com/setup and then tap go. And that brings you to this page. Glad you're here. Tap on Cutting Machine to begin. On the Almost There page, be sure to check the I agree to Cricut's terms of use so that the Download Now button highlights, and then tap that. That will take you to the App Store. And you'll see this page. It says Cricut, Cricut Design Space, Cricut Inc. Tap on Get and it will download to your iPhone or iPad. And then when it's done, tap on Open. All right, you'll be asked if you allow notifications. At the bottom, you can see 2 buttons, Machine Setup and Sign In, and you want Machine Setup. And on the Machine Setup page, we are given the option to create a Cricut ID. So if you're new, you'll want to create one. If you already have a Cricut account, you'll click on Sign In and then put in your email and password. But let's do Create Cricut ID. So you just Tap in your email address. Again, be very careful that you are doing it properly. It's really easy to get it wrong on an iPad or iPhone, I've noticed, because it's not a normal keyboard. So double check that your email address is correct. And then for your password, again, you need at least 8 characters, upper and lowercase letters, a number, and a special symbol. Make a note of it, of course. And then tap in your first name and your last name, right? Spell everything correctly so you're addressed correctly when Cricut writes to you. And then select your country. I'm in the United States. You can search for it at the top or just scroll the list to find it. And there's United States. And then you'll need to check terms of use. And then you can click Create Cricut ID. And there we go. That brings us to what machine do you want to set up? So tap on the Cricut Joy, because that's what we're setting up today. Now we need to plug in the Joy and power it on. And then, so make sure you have Bluetooth turned on. All right. If you don't have it turned on, you'll need to go into Bluetooth. So if you just blank like this, you don't see it at all, you'll want to go into your settings, which looks like this icon, gray one with the gear on it. You want to tap on that. And then you want to tap on Bluetooth that you can see over on the left right there. And then it'll scan for any devices. I can see the Joy down there under other devices. And you can tap on that. If you're ever asked for a code, you just want to put in 4 zeros. All right, so just tap and it'll connect to it. Then you can go back into the Cricut Design Space app, which looks just like this, and give it a minute, it'll show up and you can click on it and continue on your way. Sometimes it does it automatically, sometimes it doesn't. Here's Cricut Access Offer again. I recommend that if you're not quite sure, that you start your free trial a little bit later. So for now, get to the skip button in the upper right corner. And then that brings us to our Let's Test a Cut page, just like we saw in our other 2 setups. Setting up a Cricut on an Android. Go to Google Chrome and type in cricut.com/setup. And that brings you to a page that looks like this. And you'll want to tap or click on Cutting Machine and then scroll down and be sure to click I agree to the terms of use and click Download Now. It takes you to the Google Play Store and you want to tap Install. And it will install for you. Its speed will depend on your internet access speed, of course. So give it a little while to install for you. Make sure you're installing this version and nothing else, right? So follow Cricut's setup prompts. Sometimes it can be confusing on the Android, I've noticed. And when it's ready, tap on Open. At the bottom, you can see 2 buttons, Machine Setup and Sign In, and you want Machine Setup. So tap on that one. And that brings you to the Sign In screen. Again, if you already have a Cricut account, you can go ahead and put in your email address and password. If you don't, you'll want to click on Create Cricut ID and put in your email address. Be sure to spell it properly so you don't have problems logging in later. Double and triple check it. Put in your password. Remember that you need at least 8 characters, upper and lowercase letters, a number, and a special character. And then put in your first and last name. Again, double check that you're spelling everything correctly. It makes a difference, trust me. All right, and then you can choose your country, the United States. And then you want to click on I agree to Cricut's terms of use and then Create Cricut ID. And that brings you to your machine selection. And we want to tap on Cricut Joy. And now we need to plug in the Joy and power it on just like we did earlier. And then we need to tap to connect. If you are having an issue, you're not seeing it, allow Cricut Design Space to connect. If there's no Joy to add, it's just blank, to go back to your main screen. And this is what settings looks like. And then Bluetooth is right here. And so you want to make sure it's turned on, of course, and then look in your list for available devices and look for something called the Joy, which I see right there, and then you can click on it. If you're asked for a pairing code, you just put in 4 zeros. That's all you need. Typically, you won't need it on the Joy, but you might, you never know. All right, so it's connecting and that looks good. And then we can go back to Cricut Design Space and now you'll see it here and you can click connect, just like that. Okay, so here's our Cricut Access screen. You can sign up right now if you know you're gonna make things by clicking Start Free Trial, but you can also click Skip and come back at any time to start your free 30-day trial, which is my recommendation while you're just learning. So I'm going to click on Skip. And that brings us to the Let's Test page, just like we saw the Mac. All right, so that's how you set up on all of the different devices that you can access Cricut Design Space from. Note that you can't use something like an Kindle that does not have the ability to access Cricut Design Space. The other thing that is kind of dicey is a Chromebook. Now, a Chromebook does use the Android operating system, so you can go to the Google Play Store and you can download Cricut Design Space, but note that it's not officially supported. However, there are many people that use it, but you won't be using the Cricut.com/setup that I showed you if you have a Chromebook. You'd have to go to the Google Play Store. One more thing I want to mention is that if you have a Windows computer that is perhaps an inexpensive one and it's not working for you, it tells you that your computer can't install it. It may be because it's in S mode. S mode basically stands for safety mode, and many inexpensive laptops, like Windows laptops, will ship with Windows in S mode. I have a whole video on my YouTube channel that shows you exactly how to get out of S mode so that you can install Cricut Design Space. Okay, so please follow that video if that is an issue for you. It's very easy, nothing to be concerned about, and it's not a problem to get yourself out of safety mode because it's really just a way to prevent you from downloading things that could be dangerous, but you're responsible and you can be careful not to download things that could have viruses. Cricut Design Space is trustworthy. All right, so that brings us back to let's test our machines. And let me put my photo up. There we go. All right, so I want to notice that every single one of these devices brought us to this point, which I think is so cool. It is, each one of them is, the software might be ever so slightly different. They're not identical, but they're very similar. So from this point on, it's basically the same, right? All right, so let's test our machine. To make sure your machine is working perfectly, you'll cut this decal with the included piece of black smart vinyl. We'll show you how. Well, I don't have black smart vinyl in mine, do I? I have a piece of silver, but it is smart vinyl. Look at the back there. You see this? On the back, it says smart vinyl. Smart vinyl is vinyl that you can use without a mat in the modern or the more recent Cricuts. So that includes the Joy. It also includes the Cricut Joy Extra, the Cricut Explore 3, the Cricut Maker 3, and the Cricut Venture. So, everything that's come out in the last 3 to 4 years, I'd say, you can use smart vinyl. But they gave us a piece, so we're going to use it. All right, so in Cricut Design Space, let's go ahead and tap on Next, and it will guide us through exactly what to do. So our first step is to prepare for cut. Confirm that the blade is set in place with the clamp closed. So here is our Cricut, ready to go, all plugged in. And let's make sure that the blade is in there, and I see it. It's right here. This is the blade. This is the clamp, right? It just opens like this. You can take it out, right? But you're probably, unless you're switching to a pen or switching to the foiling tool, you'll leave it in there, and that's why it ships with it like that. So it's ready to go. Okay, so we're good. Let's go back to Cricut Design Space. The blade is in the clamp and the clamp is closed. So we're going to click on the arrow. Prepare for cut. Use both hands to insert the smart vinyl sheet that came with your machine into the large, that was in the large white envelope, right? We've opened that up. Push under the guides until the rollers grip the material. Okay, so the Cricut Joy is an auto-feeding Cricut. In fact, the Joy and the Joy Extra are the only two that do this, it's pretty cool. But what you do need to do is insert it the right way. So if you look at the material, these white strips on the sides, that is the liner, right? So it's the white, and the silver, or whatever color your vinyl is, that is your vinyl. So you want to have it in this orientation, and then you want to use both hands, and you're going to go under the guides that you see here on the edges. Put that into position. Here we go. All right. So you want to make sure it's under both guides. So there's one here and there's one over there, right? So that's important. And you're going to use both hands and it's going to grab your vinyl for you, right? So you want it, you don't want to be putting it in like weirdly like this or whatever. You want to put it in nice and straight. And that's exactly what it's supposed to do. It brings your material in. It makes sure that there's enough material for it to do its cut. Now this decal is really quite small, so it doesn't need a lot of material, but it will pull it in and push it out and then put it into the right spot where it needs to cut, right? So this is where it's gonna start cutting. So all we have to do now is press go. And the go button for the Cricut Joy is right on the screen because there's no buttons on the Cricut, right? So we press a go. If for some reason we've changed our minds, we could press unload, but we're going to press go and we're going to watch it cut. And it does say cut in progress. You can watch it on the screen if you'd like to. It's preparing, which usually means it's downloading the design. And it'll give you an indicator of how much is cut on the screen as it cuts. But I want you to see it cut. So we're going to watch this. And that's doing the outside of the decal right now. All right, so back in Cricut Design Space, it tells us it's finished, it's 100%, and then it tells us it's done. So you can always watch your screen, whatever, and it'll sit this on any of the devices that you're using. And when it's done, you need to click on the unload button that you see right down here on the bottom. So you click that, and it unloads for you. And it's that simple. Here is your design. You can see it right there on the screen. Looks awesome. So now you can peel it off like a sticker. You can put it on the back of your Cricut. You can put it on a notebook, whatever you want. I will teach you how to do this in lesson 3 if you want it to use using a weeding tool, but you can, for the simplest way to do it is just to peel it off literally like a sticker, right? So you just want to get the edge of it. So you kind of bend it like this, but this isn't how I would normally do vinyl. So we're going to do it properly. And I need to find a weeding tool. Greg, could you help me find a weeding tool? I didn't bring one over. Actually, I'll look. Hang on. Greg is where's? Nope, I need a weeding tool. I need some help. We're over here. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, I got one. So we will talk about this in lesson. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll actually talk about this tomorrow in lesson 2. But this is a weeding tool. Pull that up so you can see it. Let's get that chance. There we go. This is a weeding tool. This is much easier to get vinyl off than just using your fingers. Because if you just use your fingers, you can kind of smoosh it up on the edges and as you're trying to do it. So we'll talk about how to use this, but I'll just try to get it started right here because I want to make sure that it's cut, right? Because this is a test cut and I can see that it has, right? You can see that it's cut cleanly. I guess let's just go ahead and take it off because I want you to see that it cut. Here we go. And now this is adhesive vinyl, and normally we would use transfer tape, but it's just a little design, so we're just gonna go for it. I will talk about all those supplies and tools that we use for the Cricut Joy tomorrow in lesson 2. But here is our sticker. See how beautifully it cut? Nice, clean lines, perfect. Just the way that we told it to. So this is a computer guided machine, right? So it is very precise, very, very precise, and it will do what we tell it to. It truly will. I know that sometimes you're like, okay, well, how do I tell it what to do? That's where Cricut Design Space, the free software, comes in. But this was just our test cut. but we are successful. We have successfully set up a Cricut. Now, in your, let's actually set this. Let's just stick this. Let's put this in the back of our Cricut. I'm going to put it right back here. There. This will come off. Now I don't know if it's removable or permanent. It's permanent vinyl. It says on the back of the sheet, when it focuses, it'll tell us. There we go. See back there, it says permanent. So it'll still come off because this is plastic. So it'll come off later if we want it to, but it's there for now. So feel free to put yours there if you'd like. Now inside your box with the Cricut Joy, you also got a pen and a piece of cardstock and a mat. Save these because you're going to use them in lesson 3. We are going to do your personalized project. It's going to use the cardstock. It's going to use the pen. You'll need another piece of cardstock. It can be anything. It can be, you can recycle a Christmas card, whatever you need. It just needs to be about this size. Okay, and it's going to be awesome. You're going to love it. Super cool. And that'll be lesson 3. So that is it. It is so easy to set up. It truly is. And I would love to answer questions now from everybody so that, because I definitely saw a bunch of questions in chat and I want to help you out and make sure everyone is on the right step. Just keep in mind that I'm going to keep my questions focused on the Cricut Joy, not other machines. And I'm also not going to talk about all of the tools and accessories and supplies because we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And I'm not going to talk about Cricut Design Space because we're going to talk about that in day 3. So that you're not confused by that, so that we can stay focused, because focus is really important in my opinion, it's really important. All right. And I need to fix that there. Obviously I need to fix all my cameras. Okay. Questions. So this is a great time to ask questions about Bluetooth, about connectivity, about this is going on, you know, why can't I connect to it? Or can I do this kind of connection? That sort of thing, right? Okay. How much bigger is the Joy Extra? That's a great question. So you can see right over my shoulder here, you can see I've got all the Cricuts out. You can see right here is the Cricut Joy. Here is the Cricut Joy Extra. So you can see how much bigger there is. It's really just a little wider. It's the same height, the same width. It's just a little bit wider because the Cricut Joy Extra can, which we're going to talk about in a different video, the one that comes next, it can do letter and A4 sized instead of the smaller, which is essentially like card sized, right? The Cricut Joy I think of as being card sized. Does the Cricut Joy come with a Bluetooth adapter or dongle? Nope, you need to buy one. If you need to buy one, oh, I need the link for that. I have a page that will help you, but I need to figure out what it is. I'm sorry. Let's see here. I set up every year, but now I don't remember what it's called. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, and I'm going to show you. All right, I'm going to switch over to the web page. There we go. And let's zoom out so we can see all of it this time, because that's just a little bit too close there. Okay. All right, if you go to, one moment. There we go. All right, if you go to cricutdiscount.com, sorry, if you go to jennifermaker.com/Cricut discount, you get to this page and you scroll down on this page, you will see the Bluetooth adapter. It's right here. It is really inexpensive. You can get it from Amazon, which is where this link will take you to get one, or you can get them from, you know, local electronic stores like Best Buy or something. It does not come with one because honestly, most devices have Bluetooth. But if for some reason yours doesn't, you can buy an inexpensive dongle. It is USB, so it's not going to work on a tablet or phone, but tablets and phones have Bluetooth. That is very normal, right? So it's not an unusual. Most everything does have Bluetooth at this point. CM Shrowen says, is there a wired option aside from Bluetooth like there is for the other machines? No, the CRICUT Joy only works with Bluetooth. So if you need to have the connectivity of USB, which I will admit that I really like it because it's very reliable, you'll need to use a CRICUT Explore or above. I think of them as sort of in a line next to one another. There's the CRICUT Joy, and then the CRICUT Joy Extra. Those both use Bluetooth. And then there's the Explorer, the Maker, and the Venture. The Explorer, Maker, and Venture can all use USB. The CRICUT Joys cannot. They only use Bluetooth. So that's important to understand. Donna says, is there a way to cut again if needed on the Joy? If you mean cut this project, this setup project again, yes, you can always just go to your settings and choose product setup and then go through the whole process I showed you again. If you mean to cut a project again, like a second time, which I sometimes mention in my tutorials, the answer is that it depends. Sometimes, yes, there is a button that says, run again or cut again, but not always. And I don't know the rhyme or reason. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. If you get a button, if you see it, then you can do it. If you can't, then you can't. And it'll just be on your screen if you can do it again. So if there's no button to let you run it again, you cannot. Donna Phillips, oops, I'm sorry, I got that one. Okay. I saw some questions earlier. Okay, I saw someone mention, what if you don't see Bluetooth it's not showing up under other devices? I saw that in the chat. So if you're having problems with Bluetooth, there is a little button that says, are you having issues? Click on that because it'll give you a ton of tips on what to do. But let me show you my experiences with Bluetooth, so that maybe something that I know about will help you. First of all, your device needs to be close to your Joy, right? You cannot have this on the other side of the room or in another room or another floor. The general rule is 10 to 15 feet. So that means, you could have it like from one side of here to the other, but no further apart. So if you're having issues, bring them closer together. Okay, so that's important. Bluetooth is a wireless connectivity. So it has a very short range. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, Bluetooth is greedy in that if you have connected to your CRICUT Joy from another device and then you try to go and use a second one, it may not see it at all because it's occupied, right? So let's say, for example, I'm cutting on my phone and then my friend comes over and she wants to use her Android tablet. We cannot both be connected via Bluetooth to the same machine. And even though mine is turned off or whatever, it might still hang on to that connection. So you need to go in to the device, any devices that could have a Bluetooth connection to your Joy, and make sure that you've disconnected them or just turn Bluetooth off. That's what I usually do. It's very easy little toggle, right? So keep that in mind. A lot of times that's the issue, is that you have something else using your Bluetooth, it's connected via Bluetooth to a different device. You don't even know about it, right? So that might also mean you have to check with people that live in your house or work in your workplace to make sure that they're not connected to it, okay? One other thing is that on Windows, there is, in the Bluetooth settings, there is an advanced option for Bluetooth. Like it puts out perhaps wider feelers for Bluetooth signals. I don't really know what's going on there. All I know is that if you're having an issue finding something on Windows, look in your Bluetooth settings for an advanced and then make sure that's enabled. Sometimes that will help. And then of course, it's all the usual things: turning the device on and off, turning your CRICUT on and off, restarting your devices, turning Bluetooth on and off, anything that can get it to say, oh, hey, there it is. I had an issue last night connecting to one of mine, because this actually happens pretty frequent. So I have a lot of experience connecting to them. However, I'm always able to successfully do it. So if you're having an issue, you probably need to be a little bit more persistent. That's my advice. So I had to turn, it wasn't this one, because of course we just unboxed this one. It was my Maker 3 at home. We turned off the Maker 3, and we turned off Bluetooth, and it was from I actually tried it from both my phone, no, from, I was on a Windows laptop, yes. So we turned off Bluetooth on all of our devices, and I checked to make sure that my Mac wasn't connected. So I went through and I just turned Bluetooth off, and then I restarted my CRICUT Maker 3, and then I turned Bluetooth on the device I wanted to use it on, and boom, there it was. So that's my advice. And I think that it really makes a difference. A lot of people struggle with Bluetooth so much that I've thought about doing like a specific tutorial just on how to connect to your CRICUT via Bluetooth so that you could walk through all the troubleshooting that I essentially just explained. All right, another question. Can multiple accounts use the same machine? Could you and I share a machine? Absolutely. Yes, multiple accounts can use the machine, but remember, you need to be disconnected from one for the other one to connect to it. So yes, you can do that. So making sure that's right. Yes. So there's one Bluetooth connection at a time, but I can disconnect at any time and you can connect to it and use it. On day 3 of CRICUT Kickoff, in the last class of CRICUT Kickoff, so day 3, class 3, because there's a lot of classes during CRICUT Kickoff, I will get all of the CRICUTs that we have set up out, and I will show you how you can actually cut to them all from one computer, except for the CRICUT Joy Extra. I'll have to use a device because you can only have the one Bluetooth connection, right? So, because now we have 2 CRICUTs that have a Bluetooth connection. So I can't like use, I might actually be able to. I might actually be able to use one computer and have 2 Bluetooth connections to it. It might actually work. We'll see on day 3. But yes, you can totally share. Just know that you can't both be connected via Bluetooth at the same time. Right? Now, what you could do, well, no, you couldn't do that because there's no USB. So that's one of the drawbacks of having Bluetooth only and not having USB. If you had USB, you could have one Bluetooth connection and one USB connection, and 2 people could cut to it at the same time, I think. I don't think I've tried that one, actually, but I think that would work. But you can't be having it like cut at 2 projects at the same time either. So they would the CRICUT would fight with itself, over the software about who gets to control it. So, all right. Karen says, will turning off the actual joy sever the Bluetooth connection? So what I have found is that, yes, it will, it depends on the device, right? So it doesn't delete it. And if you go to turn on again, usually it will just reconnect again automatically. So it's not like you have to connect every time. If you keep your device and your machine and you just turn off your CRICUT and turn it back on, usually it connects automatically for you. So that's been my experience. Like if I look at if you were to see my Bluetooth right now, I can try to show it to you right now. Well, actually, my Bluetooth only shows this one because I haven't connected it via Bluetooth. But I could show you on my iPad. I guess I can't because you can't really see it. But if you can see my iPad, you would see that it has the connections for a whole bunch of CRICUTs that are not sitting on my desk and they're not even turned on. It's the ones in the back. I turned all of those on to create all of our setup videos a couple days ago. But it retains the connection. It's just not active until it gets turned on. I think that's the simplest way to put it. Shwetha Kumar says, should I only use the given vinyl to do the test cut? I recommend it unless you happen to have some smart vinyl around that you don't mind using, right? So you'd want to use the same vinyl that they're giving you because it's not on a mat. It's the smart vinyl. That doesn't mean that you couldn't put some vinyl onto a mat. It'd still work. It doesn't really know. It doesn't know the difference. That's not true. It does know the difference between smart vinyl. Yeah, so use smart vinyl. So if you have another roll of smart vinyl, you could use that instead, but I would recommend just using this. You still get, half of it's not used that you could use for something else if you wanted. And by the way, you just want to turn it over to use it, right? And feed it from this end, and then you have all of this that you could use to cut something with. Another question is, do I prefer Bluetooth connections? I do not. I prefer a USB connection, but that's not an option with the CRICUT Joy or the CRICUT Joy Extra, so Bluetooth it is. But when I have a choice, I use USB. So when we do our setup videos for the others that have a USB connection, I will be using USB for those. USB is more reliable and it's faster. So, but this is a compact cutting machine and it comes with Bluetooth only. All right, are there any other questions that I can help anybody with? Oh, how do you do the test cut again? That is super easy. So if we go to Cricut Design Space, here we are in Cricut Design Space. By the way, when we're all done, we can just click continue and it just says, hey, actually, it takes you to this super cute video from Cricut. So you can watch the video and then it actually gives you some help resources. So I highly recommend that. But right now, I want to show you how to get to a test cut. So up here in the upper right corner, you click on your name and then you choose settings and then you go to machines and then you click on new product setup and you click start and then you can go right back to your test cut, just like you did it. And see, it's connecting again, should still be connected. And then you click continue. And you just have to do the whole thing again, but you will get to your test cut right there. So that's it. That's how you get back to it. All right. Well, I think that I have answered most questions. If I didn't answer your question, let me know. Leave your question below this video. We answer all of our questions that get sent to us or left on our videos. We truly care. Another thing that you can do is go to our awesome Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/Cricut Crafters. There's like so many people there. We're getting close to having 1 million Cricut Crafters. It's really cool. And I am going to have lessons on other machines too. We're going to do the Joy Extra, the Explore, the Original Maker, the Maker 3, and the Adventure. So if you need to get the links to all of those things, go to CRICUTKickoff.com and I'll send you the links to all of those. And then tomorrow, I'm going to come back for lesson 2 and I'll show you all of the necessary materials and supplies that you can use for your Cricut Joy. So until next time in our next class, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.